or famously of Samsung Boo, but drafting coach of Kingzone in full effect here. No AD carry comp on the side of Kingzone. This could be Frostmancy bot lane for all we know until we get all the confirmations. I think Aurelia has good solo kill pressure onto the Aatrox, so like day, League of Legends every day for Papa Smithian. If you come in stealth and open up with that final chapter, you can't kite Vayne, and she can start stunning people, and damage soon follows. Kingzone are trying to change the battlefield. They're not going to be fighting front to back. They've got a Victor bot lane to try to take advantage that Vayne Yuumi sounds strong, but not necessarily in the 2v2 early, unless that cat can really impress us.
See how it does in action here on the Rift for game number 2 of Gen Z up against Kingzone. I don't know who was referenced there and the extra whiting we had.
I know what was referenced by Observer Valdez. Predator Pike in this game. You already get a warning marker that the death from below could be on the way. The deep water dive has that proximity marker like a Rengar does. Well, now you got 2 of them. Pain Train can be enacted. So no Aftershock on Tucson is interesting. Usually it's a plug-and-play decision. Yuumi, in case you guys are not aware, with the latest release, is the cute cat, released on patch 9.10. We're on 9.11 here. The hot fixes from 9.10, of course, alive. You do not opt into a flash on this champion because she has the ability to just jump into an ally and surf between them. So very commonly you will see a Medjay on a Yuumi, also an Athene's Unholy Grail, like we've seen from our Luxes this week. So you can go Exhaust Ignite, but in pro play it will always be Exhaust Heal, Valdez, because at the end of the day, you take the heal, so Ruler can take the TP.
And you can see that she also picked up Gathering Storm. That was kind of blocked by the little advertisement we had before. But should be very annoying in the lane, as you guys can see, just drawing out a little projectile and seeing what she can hit. Actually, I spent a lot of time after I came back just playing a lot of Yuumi, and
what do you take?
She's actually very fun. More than I expected her to be.
How many games have you played against Yuumi, and how much fun did you have against Yuumi?
Against Yuumi, it's not fun at all. It sucks.
For many different reasons. Like, the Q being able to curl around the minion wave is obviously, like, epically broken by how League of Legends usually works, right? Very hard to stop against that. One of the biggest points of frustration is that Yuumi level 1 is the most instant win laning thing that's ever existed in League of Legends because she's a duo lane specialist, top side. Roscoe getting a very nice trade in with full stacks on Cuvée. The reason why I say that is, when you fight for a minion wave as it arrives, usually trading is an important thing to do. The question is, when Yuumi walks up, who do you hit? Because Yuumi orders you, gets a shield.
Yeah.
She has no base stats, you think, kill the damn Yuumi. Well, unfortunately, she jumps into her AD carry and then further hurts you with her Q, or you hit the AD carry and then Yumi's free hitting on you. So you actually have no good choices, and she has 2 abilities. So I really feel like she shouldn't have that. Is Cuvée going to have a life after this? Because diving Aatroxes has happened a lot.
Well, how about just a short roam into forcing out the TP early? That's definitely a good alternative. As you can see, you're not getting away from this one. Deft, you're going to take a lot of damage here as you take a look at the damage already that they have taken. It's pretty insane.
You know what sucks? Last hitting is an AD carry against a Yuumi. Well, guess what? A mage going Frostmancy. This is actually one way to interact with that OP nature of Yuumi, because for now, Deft is actually rewarded for taking active trades. He has a shield to match the poke damage that usually comes in at early levels, so it's definitely a creative way to play against Yuumi, that's for sure. Only other thing, unfortunately, is that Tucson has to last hit as a melee champion, then instantly Ghost Water dive away to get his health back from that annoying Yuumi poke. So the healing and shielding is Kingzone's way to try to out-interact the highly interactive Yuumi.
And of course, Ruler is going to have a fun time here. Gets zoomies, runs around real fast, never really loses that much health, and kind of just lets life do all the work for him. He's having a little bit of trouble here because the wave is pushing in, but overall, this lane pretty easy for him so far.
Pyke has 21 CS to the 34 of Yuumi. The evolve already on the GP10 item means that Deft will be getting that number early. And if you get like a 9 to 10 minute transformation, guess it's a good way not to interact with Yuumi. Laser that stupid minion wave and just leave the lane.
That's a good way to not play against a champion, is to leave the lane. Say, I've had enough. I just don't want it anymore.
I choose the more manageable ban Yuumi approach, not interacting with the champion. Cute Cat going back to base and upgrading her GP10.
That is the one skin that she does have, right?
I believe so, yeah. I actually haven't seen it.
Using the pink chroma. That's actually the one that I chose.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a lot of choices. She has like 10 chromas. You know, makes sense, right? Cute cat. Gotta give her as many chromas as possible, but I thought the only real choice was the pink one. She had a lot of cool ones too, like a dark one, like a, you know, what's the name of that? Like an Umbreon, you know, from Pokemon. That kind of feel. But pink was the easy choice for me.
Gotta admit, the pink chromas are always ones I love. Pink Zac. I actually have all the Caitlyn skins unlocked thanks to Riot Games, but actually I just go base skin with pink chroma because it's just the most obnoxious by far.
That's the best.
We're not able to open Korean accounts, so we do get some freebies from Riot Games Korea. Thank you for that. You know, it's not normally how they interact with other. I still have my main account parked on North America, I believe, at the moment.
Oh yeah.
It's a use at international events account.
It's good. I have a level 11 alt. His name is Hippo Fun.
Whoa. That's a good name, actually.
When I was younger, I was not very good at making IDs, but I feel like as I've gotten older, not saying that I'm old, but as the years have come along, I feel like I've gotten better and better at making IDs.
Thankfully, on the Korean server, most English IDs are available more so than other servers, so you can get in there and have some fun. We're talking about IDs because these teams are not fighting right now. And that's something that, again, has been leveraged to criticism against Korean teams, could be leveraged against SKT in our first series. The cool thing about the previous game was that Kingzone knew exactly what they were doing. And speaking of Kingzone...
Oh boy, here we go. How about a stun into another one? And this time around, you can say goodbye, as you are not going to stay alive. Goodbye to Aatrox.
And the point illustrated on the screen. Kingzone waited till their time and then turned it on and never looked like losing Valdez. The bot lane here has been a creative attempt to circumvent how strong Yuumi's laning is. But when Kingzone started, the game ended in very linear fashion. The gank topside, again preying upon the fact there's no more note buttons for Cuvée. You go too far, you die. You don't get that free revive. Means that topside in a good spot, and you can snowball on Aatrox. That's what Korean teams have been doing again and again.
Good execution overall, because it's the ult. We've seen a lot of Sejuani's. I feel like Sejuani ult is one of the most embarrassing one when you miss, because it's just so obvious when that giant thing just goes flying the other way.
And everyone in chat spot spamming my name, Smithy, they say, for some reason. Not
yeah,
sure what that's
weird.
about.
I don't get the...
They don't spell it right either. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know. Twitch chat is weird at times, Papa. You just have to accept it and move on.
I feel like Twitch chat's very polarizing. Then people think they have. Some people think they have hearts of darkness. I see the hearts of gold, but I think both sides kind of understand where the other side's coming from.
Definitely a gold mine of many things in the Twitch chat, and yeah, I mean, Roller's got a gold mine here in the bottom lane, as there is not much of a lane for him. He kind of just sits there and auto-attack stuff. Gets in range for the Yuumi Q. That's important.
Do notice that the transformation with the early TP back to lane and the very early GP10, and the fact that Pyke was able to shrug off damage with the deep water dive and Deft could focus on harassing, I believe Deft is the only player who's now twice, I've seen, gotten a pre-10-minute quest cash-in on this Victor bot lane. He's still playing it. You understand why, just because the Yuumi thing is too annoying for a regular 2v2 to lane with. If you go, I saw in the LPL, I believe it was a Leona lane against Yuumi, and it was just the saddest thing ever. Like, Leona could never do anything, never had any health. Because who do you engage on, damn it? But this one is actually highly frustrating, Gen G, and who knows how many even scrim games of practice they have on Yuumi lanes.
Well, I mean, you do your basic amount, right? You get those 30, 40 in, but then eventually it's like...
Do you? With the bans the champions
get?
Yeah,
as I was saying that, I'm like, well, you probably want to get your 30, 40, but then eventually everybody just bans it every game, so it's like, well...
Put your money where your mouth is. How many games have they played an even scrim level of Vayne Yuumi? Like, it has to be less than 5, right?
Yeah, I'd say probably 3.
And how many games against...
Not very many.
Frostmancy and Bike, right? That's the crazy thing is, you know that Def and Tucson know these champions well. You assume that Gen G have minimum practice levels. That's a tricky thing to deal with.
Although I guess in scrims you could say, hey, don't ban it. We really want to practice this.
I mean, that has happened. I don't know if that does happen, if you know what I mean.
I'm not a scrim aficionado myself.
And they don't have a 10-man roster, so internal scrims aren't as trivial coming through. They do have the 10-man roster on the Gen G side, though, so maybe they have, you know? What's to say? But with the Yuumi bans, and this is the first game it's open, we're going to see very little of it. I wonder if we'll see any of it in the LEC later today. Top side-wise, the Aatrox going to see plenty of play, as we know, but we're still waiting on Aatroxes to find reliable ways to win. The win rate in Korea, nice and low.
Nice little grab here on a Kuzan, but it is Lissandra. So, puts an end to that.
Going for the Victor bot lane allows Predator Pike with Moby Boots to leave lane more often than not, because you can, like we mentioned, laser waves and leave. That was a roam up mostly to make sure they weren't outgunned around the Rift Herald. They get the Rift Herald as a freebie. Clan sticks in it. They're just jamming the Rift Herald as fast as possible.
Was that the fastest Rift Herald summon of all time?
Close to it, Valdez.
In LCK. That was very fast. As okay, this time everything's going wide, and Cuve's going to stand tall and not be hit by anything.
First skill shot hits, they probably go for the dive. It doesn't, so they just deal with the turret plates being shared and not solo plates. In that particular case, back away. Juve ult on cooldown. Again, it's a different thing to think about. Usually that's a really big thing right now because of the 1v1 or 2v2 nature. Less big. Peanut backs away on the Skarner, like we mentioned, he's had more success on. I'd like to see the gold players. I'm looking forward to the next time we see the tab screen on the bot side, as Victor is now getting 2 forms of income. He's lasering the minions and still getting the quest harassment onto the duo.
So far, though, not that much harassment, as he is just going for the big lasers, and whenever they're in lane, he kind of gets pushed back by them, and they leave immediately after pushing. Still waiting on those gold values, but we'll get them eventually.
Yeah. For Kingzone, it's what does the mid-game look like for this team? Because at some point, not having an AD carry does change the game. At some point, that is something that's a trouble. But in the mid-game, not so much, because whatever the build is here, remember the Rageblade build was target nerfed with the change to third auto for Phantom hit proc for the Play the Ruin King Rageblade duo of items we always used to see on Vayne. Around those time, 2 items are done. It's very risky to tumble into a Victor. It's something that has turned big games in the past. So the ability to get consistent damage is kind of later when you've got 4 or 5 items and you have double lifesteal and you can be very aggressive with your position. Before that, you're just a very low base health and base stats champion that can be taken down. So given we gave Kingzone credit for in the previous game, knowing when the game was there to be won, knowing when they were strong and acting on it, how will Kingzone play in the following 15 minutes or so, where it feels like their draft is best and strongest?
Well, for now, they have their sights set on one man, and that is Aatrox. But again, The sights are going to sail wide as the TP's coming in, and here's Peanut. They do get the Aatrox, and now it is 3-on-2, and Peanut in a bit of trouble, wants to trade for Rascal, but a double kill, and he gets away! What a play there by Rascal to flash away at the last moment.
Insane for him to live through all of that. Just enough health, just enough turret shots, and juggled a double kill. It means that even though Peanut's on the right side of the map, it's not enough.
That was just not what I was expecting, but sometimes Aurelia comes through big, especially now in the hands of Rascal, who is playing so well today.
And Aurelia hasn't been at the front of our minds. There's been so many Aurelia bans. Valdez, his bot side, we missed this play. We talked about the potential all-in with the Yuumi. This time the all-in worked out.
Final chapter finally gets that last stack, roots him in the brush. That's enough. This is the replay I wanted to see.
So with the ult missing, it's the reason why it takes a little bit longer to take down Cuvée. Peanut rolls in thinking they can make the big turn, but Kuzan can't actually change things much in this scenario. Just assumed Rascal would go down, but lost turret aggro and got out. It was a close one, but the turret's down on the back end.
Now he's up about 2,000 gold. He also uses stopwatch right at the right time to avoid a bunch of, the grabs coming in and anything. Eventually did get grabbed, but still made the most of it. Now he's 3-0.
Uh-oh, look at the items too. Trinity Force Tiamat, if you don't mind.
Ooh.
Don't want to be in that lane, as Aatrox already starts to back.
We're going to have to rename Aatrox to BBtrox, as now he is no longer a Tier A champion in this game. Just not liking what I'm seeing nowadays on the Rift.
And again, that's different to most people's tier list, where he's considered S tier. It's different to his pick ban status, which is close to 100%.
Yeah.
And again, the highlight of Aatrox, the late game of Aatrox, cannot be denied. We saw 750 heal in an instant in a previous fight, but losing out on early game blind pick ability in pro play is a big pro play nerf. I feel like the champion still slams solo queue, and there's still ways to baby it through the laning phase and get the value lane.
It's true. Well, Peanut waiting down here on the bottom side, seeing if they can continue to bully, as an insane amount of control wards have been placed down here. We saw one in each brush the last time. Now we have two in the front brush, as they're just waiting to bait them into this fight.
Bot side.
He's coming in there, though. Nico's going to get that first row, but look at Death. He just disappears. And now here we go. Peanut is going to get the grab, but there you go. Vayne is going to go down, and there is going to be everybody just decimated as 3 more kills come through. Pyke getting the resets and an extra kill there in the pockets of Rascal.
The blue hue combat text tells you assist on and kill. Gold share on both. That means the gold lead is going to balloon. It's 5,000 already, Valdez. Kusin waits out, but doesn't quite have the range to hit the Bone Skewer. Send in your friends if you can't deal with the 2v2. That is the King's Own way. We already said, you're not picking Victor to kill the Vayne. You're picking Victor to deal with the Yuumi lane and to try to disengage.
That's not really going to plan so far. That has been the name of the game here for Gen G up against King's Own. King's Own looking really dominant, even after Death just disappeared.
And we talked about how in the final hour with the final chapter for the chapter hour double final synergy, what do, right? Vayne's running at you, can't kite her, she moves faster than you, she's got a stun. You bring friends, that's what you do. Never enter the jungle without bringing your friends, and they had already coordinated the teleport, and the best that could happen is to get that first kill onto Vayne. After that, some very clear calls, not too much cheering between the King's Own trio.
Had a good angle.
나이스!
자기 한번 바로 띄워줄래?
나 바텀 밀게 우천아.
바텀 밀고 니꺼 천천히 좀 해.
And they're already talking about pushing out bot lane and resolving as G-Sun feeds into our ears. So thank you very much for the translating there, G-Sun. She gave a little giggle at the end in case you guys wanted the G-Sun update. The game update is a lot of gold. That's 6,000 Valdez, and here's what I'll tell you about Pyke. If you hit the mid game and then Pyke wins a team fight, the gold lead is always bonkers.
It's bonkers, that's for sure. That's one way to put it. As the Yuumi is not you know, it did okay in the lane, but it's just the team around it this time around is not going to really find much success. As now they throw Aurelia down here. He's casually 4-0-2, took the top lane turret, has almost 10,000 gold for 20 minutes. He's feeling pretty good.
KingZone DragonX are the best team we've seen on the Rift in LCK Summer, and the last to debut, chasing on to Cuvée. Once again, he can't run away.
This time he's not going to miss, but unfortunately the follow-up not quite there as they're diving inner turrets right now. KingZone just looked unbelievably confident and dominant in this series up against Gen G. It's not even close.
The crazy thing is, in game number 1, they read the tendencies of the enemy team, answered them with the Karthus, won the game. In game number 2, they read the Yuumi pick, had a pocket answer to it, and not a standard one. This is not, well, this Yuumi sucks, what are you doing? This is kleptomancy and a Pyke bot lane that could roam because the Victor got a quick quest cash in. They read both the team tendencies and prepared for the Yuumi first pick. That just means they're on a different level to their opponent. And this is a team that you could be forgiven for thinking, with Pawn having to step away for medical reasons, might be out of contention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited now for the future of the summer and seeing exactly what KingZone have else up their sleeve. So far, it has been only good stuff here today as Ruler and Peanut, and don't forget Little Life there hanging on, going for a little walk in the jungle, but not going to find any enemies.
It just feels like KingZone are rotating around the duo lane. They don't have easy one-person or even 2v2s to send into the lane, so why not win everywhere else? Trying to give the Vayne Yuumi Nasus treatment, it feels like, in some ways, and win the game around what the Vayne and her chase down potential might represent. Baron buff, not a girl's best friend if you're a Vayne, so KingZone can pick that one up with the Nico to walk up, with the Aurelia threat. They can play one lane, they can play multiple lanes. Gen G need to kind of put all their eggs in the repel Baron bucket, otherwise things get even more difficult than a 6,000 gold represents.
It's been a cloudy day here, lots of Cloud Drakes so far today. This will be the second one, and it should be picked up here for the side of KingZone.
Definitely.
Really no challenge from the side of Gen G. That's going to be pretty good. I feel like not as good as some of the other comps we have seen today, but overall not that bad. Here comes Lucent looking for an angle now onto Ruler. Is not going to find it. Ruler will tumble away.
Can't allow a fight for Vayne to reset behind the front line. That's the one thing they can't allow. For now, at least, not having Aatrox in a team fight suits them just fine. One death on KingZone can lead to many more quickly, but the same can be true with the Pyke.
Oh, Peanut, he's gonna have that spear in the back, and here comes Nico, gonna get 3 with the lockdown, and there's not much that Gen G can do. Everybody is just getting rolled over, and Kuzan wants none of it, but he may get some here from the Aurelia as Rascal is still on the chase. Will eventually give it up, but that's 4 for none to the side of KingZone.
Kuzan's late to the house party, but the cops already called it off. Everyone's gone before he even gets there. 4 deaths before that happens, and now Baron buff, an afterthought for KingZone DragonX.
May not be the quickest game we've ever seen with the slow start, but once they got it rolling, KingZone are making it look so easy today as the TPs are coming in. Not sure what they're going to be able to do here as Ruler is going to have to walk away from that one and head up to the top side.
Optimistic TP. Baron was already done. They didn't have spotting vision on it, as far as we could tell. It's a 2-for-1 TP as Yuumi gets to follow through teleport, in case you guys haven't tried her out. Gonna see the replay here, and Peanut gets caught, and unfortunately, that means look at the Nico here. We've seen so many of the Pop Blossoms be better on Sylas or missed on the Nico. You look back and you nod your head and say, that's a nice one, Neon. He's the player who needs to level up for KingZone to be a contender. He's looking at home Valdez as a KingZone DragonX.
Well, now they've got 10,000 gold in the lead and already a Baron buff power play of almost 2,000. These guys are on a roll. Definitely very fun to watch, especially once they get it ramped up here. Ruler, I like the idea with the Vayne alongside the Yuumi trying to go for that hard carry, but unfortunately, as a team, it's not as easy as it looks.
No item complacence of Genji here can change things in the short term. Life's gone. Medjai's, again, it's super core onto Yumi. And she's dying. Doesn't really matter what items she had. There's bigger problems. Kingzone, we talked about needing an early Baron. Don't want to get to late game team fights. The late game might be 25 minutes, Valdez. We're close to a Kingzone 2-0 pre-30.
It's kind of looking like it here, but Kingzone waiting on the push. Not going to push it just yet. Perhaps give the red buff to your 5-0 and 5 Irelia. That is level 15 in this game alongside Nahon, and small little hook there on Akive means a nice chunk of damage, and the pushes should begin here in the bottom.
Here we go. Minion wave starts to come forward. Genji trying to clear it out, but limited wave clear.
See even the lasers here from Deft, who has kind of just been farming in this game, are beginning to do that damage towards Ruler.
Next minion wave is probably the one where they walk up. Mid lane turret quite low.
There's another laser to Ruler. Just gonna get healed up by the zoomies. Little cat has got on his back, and poke is real from the side of Kingzone as the slow push is coming in. Ruler desperately trying to get in there. Does kill the cannon, but as you mentioned, they just rotate easily up to the mid lane. That really has been the key word of today for Kingzone, easy. So it has not looked too difficult for them.
But it's not just the level of their opponent, their own level has been really good. Genji were able to wait out Dumb1 Gaming. Here's the team fight.
Yeah, nice cleanse there from Ruler. He is going to be free hitting in the back here. Nahon trying to come in from the left side. The pull does come down, but Nahon able to get in there, and unfortunately is going to go down. Ruler's still here, available, but the rest of his team is just melting around him. He's going to push forward because he has to. No other real chance for him. A triple kill for Irelia, and the ace will come through for Kingzone, and it will be a relatively quick game here for game number 2 win.
Now, they will have Baron buff minions. I'm not 100% clear they can close. They're going to try to, Valdez. Only 26 minutes, but those death timers, 20 seconds is enough, actually.
Yeah, especially with the ace, everybody just going to be decimated.
Here's the super minions. It's now.
They're all coming on in here. They will be able to push down these turrets. So in 27 minutes almost here, Kingzone able to fly onto the victory here. The 2-0 over Genji tonight.
What an impressive victory for Kingzone DragonX. And if the season was won in the first series played, I think Kingzone are your winners of debuts in the LCK. They were prepared. These guys are good. Cuz Rascal especially. And now a very impressive top jungle duo, and it's a real treat to see. Like, Rascal always had something about him, but never played. There was Khan ahead of him. Why would you ever play Rascal? It was Expression, actually, who was ahead of him before Khan joined the lineup in summer 2017. But when he did play, you're like, oh, he's not bad. And actually, the thing that I held highest about Rascal was when Khan would have some of his medical issues and wouldn't be able to play, or when they wanted a reset in mental, they would play a rookie top laner in the 3rd game of a series, in the 5th game of a series, and he would never look like it. So to be sure of yourself when you haven't played 50 games of Pro League is something to shout out about. Like, hey, there must be something here if he's able to do that. And now as a starter, he started soft. He was a bottom 3 top laner in the Kesper Cup and the first round robin of spring. Now suddenly, top 5 is looking very, very trivial for Rascal to hit.
The guy is an absolute beast, and that top lane matchup was honestly more one-sided than we've seen in a while. And of course, he did get a lot of help from his friends this time around, Cuz showing a lot of love to the top lane, had a great game himself. Nahon also making his way. This is the big highlight play for Rascal. Gets in there, survives. You know, he's spamming his Q, is able to flash there at the last second. Does it again on the cleanup crew alongside Tucson here.
There's so little wasted energy with Kingzone, and so far on the LCK, we've had a lot of, okay, get to the next explode, get to the next explode. And that's the sort of stuff that frustrates the viewers, that teams like G2 and IG were able to accelerate. Kingzone, when they're ready to accelerate, they win the race. So, yeah, I'm running out of new nice things to say about Kingzone. There's so many.
Yeah, you can tell we're hyped as casters when we just can't stop talking about it. Gen Z, they did show up big against Damwon the first time around, but unfortunately, or no match for Kingzone tonight. So we'll have to wait and see what they do the next time around. But taking a look here at the last team fight, saying
You splash on him, right? You splash on Ruler and
rolling over the entire side. At that point, they were so far ahead.
he's still smiling.
He's always smiling. That's his thing. He's great at League of Legends, too, apparently. We're beginning to learn. How about another guy that was not a starter but becomes a starter? Maybe he'll also get up to that level.
Cuz is winning the head-to-head against his old teammate. He was on a significantly higher level, and that
Oh, no.
that earnest giggle from Valdez
The
tells you that.
1.5. I wonder which number Twitch chat is going to spam.
I mean, at least it got into the 4 digits, right?
That's good, yeah. I mean, it's better than some we've had. Speaking of 4 digits, we had a 5-digit lead in the gold. 15,000 at the end of game 2. So I want to know what they're even going to say up there. And I mean, they come into summer and they're like, okay, we're just going to come in here and dominate. So let's see who the MVP is first. We're about to get a look here. I think anybody on the top side of the map, but obviously Rascal with his ridiculous scoreline could definitely pick it up. So it is going to be Rascal with the 8-0-7 picks up 2 MVPs tonight.
Early Aatrox, blind pick Aatrox. Oh boy.
100% kill participation for a top laner too.
Tells
He's
you what
really getting in there.
Tells you what the counter pick to Aatrox is. Not a champion, it's Campus Lane. He is getting dumpstered by high jungle proximity. Gank him again and again and again, and the Prophet is kills about us. He just dies nowadays, and teams are gonna have to get creative to make the obvious upside of Aatrox pay off, because just locking him in is not enough.
That is for sure. So again, getting another look at the highlights of, well, it was the highlights and also the MVP highlights, because every kill highlight he was in, getting a lot of kills. So does make sense, and we are going to be hearing from him and only him. I'll hand it over to Jisoo.
기대만큼의 경기 보여줬는데요. 단독 MVP 라스칼 선수 모실게요. 안녕하세요.
Translation. And we're going to be having another solo MVP of the day. It's Rascal from Kingdom.
가장 돋보였던 선수가 라스칼 선수 아닐까 싶습니다.
You are the main character of today's series.
달라진 모습인데요.
I
오늘
think
경기
you really did improve a lot compared to Spring Split. Are you satisfied?
좀
Yes, I
전에
am.
탑 이렐리아 807이 나오기도 했는데
807 on
정말
top
계획하신 것 이상으로
Irelia.
더 좋은 플레이가 나왔지 않을까 그렇게 생각을 해봐요. 데프트 선수가 이런 인터뷰를
And Deft,
했더라고요.
in the
강의가
previous
어떤
interviews,
탑이든 다
he
이겨줄
actually
거다.
said you're going to win all the other top laners.
연습 과정이 어땠길래
How did the preparation go?
그런 얘기를 하셨을까요?
그냥 저희는
Well,
연습
we just,
과정에서
during the
전부 다
screens and
잘한다고
preparation,
생각하고
we thought that we are all good. We are just all good players. Not only me, because Nahyun and all the bot laners, I have huge belief in them.
모든 각 라이너들이
So I think all the other laners, I believe they're gonna win
많은
their
분들이
opponents.
요즘 메타에 가장 잘 어울리는 팀이 킹존이다.
And a lot of people have been saying that Kingzone is a team that fits the current meta really well. How did the teamwork go?
그러니까 내연이 형이랑은 원래부터
So
스프링에도 계속 호흡을
During the
맞춰왔기
spring, we
때문에
actually played together
이번에
for a
내연이
couple of
형이 지전이
times.
되면서
So since Nayeon became the
걱정 같은 것도
starter,
하나도 없고 그냥
we
저희
weren't really
연습 과정
concerned.
그대로 그냥
We just
쭉 이어나가는
did
거예요.
as we do during the practice games.
정말 좋은 모습 많이 보여주셨고 뭐 상체, 하체 다 완벽한 모습이었습니다. 1세트에 사일러스로 아주 좋은
Game
모습
one,
보여주셨는데요.
Silas.
이 장면 안
It
볼
was
수
really
없겠죠.
amazing.
거의 마지막에
So we have
있었던
this highlight
선택을
over here.
보면서
This
얘기
is almost the
나눠볼게요.
final team fight.
네, 이때 상황 설명 들어보겠습니다.
So what was going on over
이때
there?
저희 정글이 스마가 없어서
So actually, cause didn't
Zoe를
have
제가 막
smite,
써하는
so I had to zone out Zoe.
네, 위에서 투신 선수도 오늘 정말 교전 때
And
포지션
Tusin
잘
really
잡는다
did.
이런 얘기가 있었는데
Have great
투신
positions in
선수
every
럭스
team
선수도
fight.
연습 많이 하셨어요.
And also a lot of great engagement of Lux.
오.
This is the power of Lux, to be honest.
투신 선수가 럭스 잡으면 좀 좋아하는 편이에요?
Does Deft
그거는 잘
like
모르겠는데
Lux support?
솔직히 다 잘해서
I'm not sure, but
럭스의 신이라는 거는 그냥 해본 소리예요.
well, I mean, like I just said, Tusin is the god of Lux, but I'm just saying that. I'm not really sure.
유미를 열어주는 판단이었어요.
In game 2, it was really impressive that you guys opened Yumi. Why was
저희
that?
어떤 형들이
Well, our bot duo said, let's just open Yumi. We know how to play against it.
자세한 건 얘기해 드릴 수는
I can't
없지만
really go into too much details, but in purple side,
네, 열어도 된다.
it's okay to open Yumi.
그러면 B1들이 조금 더 상대하기에
Is non-AD carry
네.
better to play against Yumi? Yes.
좋은 모습 보여주셨습니다. 그리고 라스칼 선수가
And
오늘
Rascal.
좋은 기록을 세우셨어요. 스프링 포함해서
So you have a really good record right now.
안겨주신
You
주인공입니다.
Were the first
네,
player
기록을
to give
살펴보니까
the victory, the first victory to Irelia on top lane.
이렐리아를 안 하셨더라고요.
And we realized that you actually haven't played any Irelia in top lane in the spring split.
안 하진 않았었는데
Well, I did practice Irelia on top lane, but there was no good situation to play it. And today we got the opportunity, so I was able to lock it in.
이렐이다 이런 모습을 보여주셨는데 그동안 이렐리아가 탑에서 왜 고전을
Then why Irelia had such a bad result in top lane?
원래 좀
Well, it's a champion that
세게 하면은
is really good when you play really strong, like when you go aggressively, but if you get too much pressure around your lane, actually you get really weak in competitive games, and you get to get a lot of pressure during the competitive games, so that's why.
라스칼 선수가 스프링 때 정말 엄청난
And during the spring split, you have shown great, I mean,
팀적으로.
enormous
그게
champion
지금의
pool.
라스칼 선수가 있기까지 좀 단단해지는 계기가 됐을까요?
네.
I think it really helped me a lot.
네, 라스칼 선수 정말 오늘 좋은 모습 보여주셔서 감사하고요. 서버 가고 들어봐야겠죠?
Then any final resolution about the summer split?
많은 분들이 그 원석이 형이
A lot of fans were worried for Kingzone because of Pawn's medical situation, but Nayeon, he's working really hard, and we have been performing together since the spring split, so I believe him that we can show great performance as a team, so I will be grateful for continued support from the fans.
그리고
Thank you.
킹존의 공식 질문을 끝으로
And the official question for Kingzone, who was the most sexy player in your team? Game 1, it was Tuzin. Game 2, it was Kuz.
야, 양보해주시는 모습도 인상적입니다.
You're very humble.
킹존이 더욱더 섹시해.
So thank you very much for this interview, and
고생하셨습니다. 인터뷰 감사합니다.
I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
네, 중계선 연결할게요.
Thank you, Jisun, once again for the wonderful translation. Good to hear from Rascal. Definitely a humble guy. Didn't look too humble today as he was smashing his opponents and making it look easy.
I'm still fanning myself because that was some pretty sexy gameplay from KingZone DragonX. I'm hot and flustered, Valdez, but we'll see them again this week, so that's something to look forward to. Gen G, you're done. 1-1, so still a victory is going to be something they're happy about. But their victory was outlasting Damwon. They tried to outlast KingZone, and they found a pretty swift exit.
That they did. Gen G, though, 1-1, not so bad. We'll see how they do as this comes along. But the three teams at the top here towards the end of everybody's first game, or a couple of teams that have played two. It is KingZone, KT, and Sandbox. KingZone versus Sandbox will happen on Sunday, but tomorrow, actually, me and LS are going to be bringing you guys Homolife versus KT, and then Damwon versus Griffin. That return of the old Challengers matchup that we always talk about, but
yeah, really
always
interesting
seems
day.
to be leaning towards Griffin.
KT will be very disappointed if they don't leave week 1 2-0. Homolife looked way off the boil earlier this week, so they need to bounce back. KT come in favorites. Damwon, Griffin. I mean, Griffin were decent without blowing your mind when they played yesterday, and Damwon Gaming had that first look at the Sejuani Camille mid. This has never been competitive. Damwon have never taken a single game off Griffin, but I hope it's a 3-game series in that second round robin. That's not to keep you at work longer.
Yeah, no, I want to do it too. We were kind of expecting today to be 2-3, but it actually went 3-2, which was kind of against what we were expecting. KingZone super dominant, and then SKT struggling a little bit up against Jinair, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, it was a pretty fun day. Some cool picks. We got to see Yumi coming out. Anything else you want to say before we close out?
We got to see Yumi lose, so I'm happy about that.
You are pretty happy about that. That's good. You also are done with your casting for the week, so that's nice.
I get to listen on, watch some LEC, watch some LCK, throw in some LPL, enjoy all the League of Legends on this weekend.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.